It is certain that it would be difficult to find a worse misnomer for Washington than the colored man's paradise, if so prosaic consideration as veracity is to determine the appropriateness of a name. For 15 years I have resided in Washington, and while it was far from being a paradise for colored people when I first touched these shores, it has been doing its level best ever since to make conditions for us intolerable. As a colored woman, I might enter Washington any night, a stranger in a strange land, and walk miles without finding a place to lay my head, unless I happen to know colored people who live here or ran across a chance acquaintance who could recommend a colored boarding house to me. I should be obliged to spend the entire night wandering about. Indians, Chinamen, Filipinos, Japanese, and representatives of any other dark race can find hotel accommodations if they can pay for them. The colored man alone is thrust out of hotels of the national capital like a leper. As a colored woman, I may walk from the Capitol to the White House ravenously hungry and abundantly supplied with money with which to purchase a meal without finding a single restaurant in which I would be permitted to take a morsel of food if it was patronized by white people, unless I were willing to sit behind a screen. As a colored woman, I cannot visit the tomb of the father of this country, which owes its very existence to the love of freedom in the human heart and which stands for equal opportunity to all, without being forced to sit in the Jim Crow section of an electric car, which starts from the very heart of the city midway between the Capitol and the White House. If I refuse thus to be humiliated, I am cast into jail and forced to pay a fine for violating the Virginia laws. As a colored woman, I may enter more than one white church in Washington without receiving that welcome which as a human being I have the right to expect in the sanctuary of God. Unless I am willing to exchange in a few menial occupations in which the pay for my services would be very poor, there is no way for me to earn an honest living if I am not a trained nurse or a dressmaker, or can secure a position as a teacher in the public schools, which is exceedingly difficult to do. It matters not what my intellectual attainments may be, or how great is the need of services of a competent person. If I try to enter many of the numerous vocations in which my white sisters are allowed to engage, the door is shut in my face. From one Washington theater, I'm excluded altogether. In the remainder, certain seats are set aside for colored people, and it is almost impossible to secure others. With the exception of the Catholic University, there is not a single white college in the national capital to which colored people are admitted. A few years ago, in the Columbian Law School,